started out growing them in small jars on what's called brown rice flour cakes, just growing just little bits at a time, and noticed how it would be easy to grow them a little bit bigger and bigger. And as time went by, I just tried different things.
And you, Lori, how about yourself?
He started.
So you got her into it.
Yeah,
Huh?
I actually started with just doing the business side of things. I'm the one that got us our business license and our GE license and everything. And I started our social media pages, and it kind of went from there. As he got busier with his day job, I started doing more and more of the actual prep and growing and harvesting. So I'm a lot of the day-to-day at this point as well. Yeah.
So you got trained
But
up.
it was a labor of love on his part. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool. Why don't we go ahead and check it all out?
We get these bags of, this is called Master's Mix. It's basically a mix of soy hull pellets and hardwood pellets. They just mix it 50-50. We make bags of this and water. And those bags get put in our steam sterilizer over there. It's got a heating element like from a hot water heater right here. Plugging in the bottom, heating up the water, and it heats the water up with a little controller over there to 190 degrees and keeps it at that level for 12 hours. Cool. All it is a barrel with a hole drilled in the bottom for the heater, and another hole over here for a drain, and another hole for basically a stainless steel version of what's in the back of your toilet. Little plunger that keeps the water coming in as the steam lets off, and then I put this around it so I don't waste as much energy. In here there's 30 bags right now. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. they'll be done processing, and we'll take them out of here and we'll put them in our clean room. I just have this tented off because there's bugs and mold and everything here in Hawaii that wants to eat the sterilization. So in here I've got a HEPA filter and a fan. There's a pre-filter here that's sucking in air and blowing it out through this HEPA filter. So what comes out here is a certain flow of air that it bends this flame at a certain rate, so that I can process the bags here. I take a small bag of grain, and I have the other bags, and I put 2 spoonfuls of the grain in with the sterilized substrate, and then fold up the bag and put it on the shelf here. From there, the boxes go into this.
The newest one's in here.
Oh yeah.
This is our incubator. So after he inoculates the bags, we put them in here where it's temperature controlled, and they incubate for about 1 or 2 weeks while the mycelium starts to spread. So after a couple weeks, they'll look closer to this side here. The mycelium has spread through them, and they turn white, and I actually need to prep these, put out into the shroomery, which is the fruiting chit.
Are both these rooms connected?
Yeah.
So slide them through.
The idea is we put one in here, and it comes out there.
Makes its way down.
3 weeks later.
Very cool, very cool.
And so all this is so from here back, it's just this one room that keeps it at 75 degrees for about 2 to 3 weeks. This room right here is our chillerator. It's basically a refrigerator. It's got this little controller here that runs that AC blowing down into it. I mean, all it really is a big refrigerator. So we use it when we have fresh mushrooms that are harvested. We just keep them in here. We also keep my grain spawn in here. This stays around 40 degrees, and then there's a little fan that this controller here blows the 40-degree air into here to keep this room at 75 degrees.
Okay, so you don't have to additionally cool that room.
Nope, it's just stealing air from there.
Goes into there. How much would you say your whole system kind of costs you to build?
And the shed outside?
Yeah, this and the shed is probably about
5,000 or 6,000.
5,000 or 6,000. But I mean, that's building a whole shed out on the side of the house too.
Yeah.
Oh, you have another
We have
something?
the fruiting chamber.
Why do you have this room in addition to that other space?
So this room keeps the temperature just right. Mushrooms, contrary to popular belief, need light. These are just efficient, low-cost lights. You can have a brighter or darker. This is the cost that it needs.
Yeah.
So they do need a little light. In this room, I've got air coming in from the outside going into this, where I have a ultrasonic mister inside this box on the floor. It creates a mist, comes up on, so it's running off a timer, comes up, gets in front of this fan, and this spreads mist throughout this whole room. And then we have an air conditioner in the back. This whole back wall is the intake for the air conditioner. I've got filters to prevent spores and everything that come out of the mushrooms from ruining the air conditioner. But the exit of the air conditioner blows right on the back of this fan. And we've got a controller that keeps it running, keeps the room right about 70, 75 degrees. And the humidity keeps it right around 90 to 95% humidity at all times.
So the other room is drier and dark,
Yeah.
but around the same temperature.
Yep.
And this one is more humid and has light. That's why it's
humid
pretty.
and has light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's why
once
it's
you
so
introduce the oxygen and the light to the mushrooms, that's what introduces the growing. And so this bundle right here is what's called pinning. So essentially, there's 5 little holes in the front of these bags. When it gets introduced to light and air, it starts pinning, and each one of these little pins on here will eventually turn out to be a mushroom.
Wow, those are really looking pretty prolific there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
how
we
many
take them-
pounds is of mushrooms is that, do you think? Right there on
Right there.
that rack that's ready to harvest.
So one of those is like half a
7
pound, probably.
7 to 8 pounds, probably.
So one block is about a half a pound. you're
Yeah.
saying? And then you sell it fresh or dry?
So the idea is to sell it fresh. We try and sell as much as we can fresh, and then what we're unable to sell, we dry it and package it for dry sales, or use it ourselves in soups.
And fresh oyster mushrooms taste way better than anything I've ever had. I'll tell you, like
Yeah.
the mushrooms
They're
at the
amazing.
store, like they don't even compete to
Yeah.
fresh oyster mushrooms.
So you can see the way that we harvest them. I just actually grab these ones right here. And because all I do is poke a hole with an arrowhead into the bag, they come out in this tiny little hole, and when they're ready to harvest, they just pop right off. Those are cool. They're called blue oysters because when they're babies here, you can see the little look. They actually start out with blue caps. And then as they get bigger, they lose that and they kind of flute out.
And is that primarily what you grow most of? Or have you tried any other
Blue,
spawns?
we have
Blue
blue,
is
Phoenix,
oyster.
and then this here is lion's mane.
And then
Lion's mane.
So we've done pink mushrooms, and so because the temperature in here is 75 and they like it a little bit warmer, we'd have to change how we do this room. We'd have to put up a barrier and keep it warmer on half the room or something. One of the key things is that right around 78 degrees, you start having your different bacteria and different things that compete with the mushrooms start growing in here. You have more bugs and molds and stuff growing.
Is that because we're in the tropics or just in general?
Just in general, anywhere based on the temperature, it's going to do that. So.
And so when these are done, you harvested these blocks. What are you doing with the blocks of grain here? Are you respawning them and able to get more out of it, or are they done and you're throwing it out?
So we're done with them at that point.
they do about 2 to 3 flushes and then we're done with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I harvest this now and then let it sit here, and in a week we'll have another flush. And then a week after that we'll have another one, and then we're
done. Lori's parents are using them on the farm, and it really helps your garden grow to have the nutrients that are in the soil that's essentially left over. It's a good fertilizer. Yeah.
well, the
It adds,
mycelium breaks down the soil and makes it more nutrient available for your garden.
Yeah.
And so when you spread it on your garden, all the nutrients are, I guess it's bioavailable right there.
Yeah.
And so
you have mushrooms, you sell grow kits, and you have compost that you're all able to get out of this. Is there anything else that this whole thing can produce?
So the one of the things we're having with the lion's mane is that the second flushes, usually lion's mane is pretty shaggy, and our first flush will come out really shaggy, but the second and third flush don't really get shaggy. They stay in this kind of state here where they're just pom-pom like lumps. So what we've been doing with that is we've been dehydrating it, making a tincture out of it, and we're also going to start working with a dry powdered version of it.
Okay. There are a lot of mushroom growers. You find it hard to make sales.
There's one from over in Kona that sells at the Ku'u market. I don't know of anyone else really selling. I mean, there must be because there's different stores.
Someone from Volcano sells at local board store as well, and the one from Kona does. But they also take our blues.
And is there like maybe an average sum that you guys are able to generate off of this little endeavor?
It's more of a hobby.
No, an average sum so far would probably be about $500 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, because you got some costs involved with everything.
So for the last few months, we've been bringing in a steady $500 a month.
And so where can we find your mushrooms out there in the world?
We sell through Wild Puna Farm at the Ku'u Market every Sunday. And then we have our blues available at the local board store in Hilo. And we have all three kinds, so Blue Phoenix and Lion's Mane available at Waihola Kui Garden Store at the Old Malama Market Center. You can buy our grow kits through us. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Puna Mushroom Company. And we sell the tincture, the dehydrated, and the grow kits, as well as the compost and fresh mushrooms.
And do you guys teach anyone how to grow mushrooms at all, or you're not doing that
If
yet?
people come by and want to know, we'll teach them.
Yeah, okay, all right.